Hello, it's Rachel, and I have what I think is going to be a really fast video today on just a few kind of oddball ways to come up with content. So if you want to have a regularly updated blog or a podcast and you're just stuck on ideas for content that you can create, I thought I'd just give you some different ways that many people don't talk about that will help you get lots of ideas for things that you can talk about. So there's going to be 5 things I go over. First one, we'll jump right into it, is, if you already have an email list or if people write to you with questions, one thing that is really helpful is instead of what a lot of people do is they get all these questions and they feel resentful once their traffic starts picking up and it's like they're getting tons of people writing in and they want all this free advice. Well, instead of looking at it as having to give free advice and being upset about it, take these questions and turn them into blog posts or podcasts. So you can see here, I implemented this a couple months ago. We have a whole label for questions for Rachel that my assistant does. And already there's 200 plus different things where people have been asking me questions. Now, I understand that, maybe I get more emails than if you're starting out, for example, but you can do the same kind of thing for even if you only get a couple questions, or you can go on to Facebook groups and forums and see what questions other people get and then make different posts on that, because if one person has a question, then the odds are that a lot of people have the question. Now, number 2 is you can also go into Kindle books, and there's a couple different things you can do with Kindle books to come up with content ideas. So let me just show you. Let's say you're in, let's say gardening. We're going to look for Kindle books in the gardening store. Now, there's going to be a whole bunch of different books about this, and you can just go and see ones that do pretty well. So I'm going to look for one that will be, this has 57 reviews, so I assume a lot of people have read it. So there's 2 different things that you can do to get traffic from this, or to get content ideas from this. Number 1, just click at the look inside, and the look inside, and I haven't looked at this book in advance, but usually they have table of contents where you can go through and see, here we go. Different things that you could potentially talk about. So DIY design, how to learn about garden planning, certified courses. I mean, if you look at these chapters, there's a ton of different blog post ideas right here, a ton of different podcast ideas. So you can do this with several books, and then you have a bunch of different ideas of things that you can talk about. So that's the first way with Kindle books. The other thing is, reviews have so much information as well. So click over to the reviews for the books. It's really helpful, I think, to sort by most helpful first, and then see what people have said about the book. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? So this one, I thought this would talk about gardening DIY more. It's a sales piece for courses and contractors. So now, okay, gardening DIY, people want more information on it. So now you can go and look up gardening DIY and see, well, what are a few different things that I can say about gardening DIY? Because 13 out of 13 people thought this was interesting, which means, and it was the most helpful review, which means probably a lot of people in the gardening market are interested in this. This person wanted pictures and tips on how to make my own garden. So there you go. That's something else that you could be writing about. Won't spark your ideas, so maybe you can do something on, 20 gardening ideas to spark your imagination. Let's see, give a good pitch for selecting a professional. So if you wanted to do something like that, you could certainly have a podcast or a blog post about selecting a professional. Looking for a shade garden. So you can see there's just so many different things by just checking out these books and the reviews. So that's number 2 and number 3. The next is, this is for a paid product, but if you have Pin Searcher, it's pinsearcher.com. This is an awesome tool. So what it is, you search for whatever your niche is on Pinterest. So I'm just doing a search for gardening. Then you open up Pin Searcher and you can auto-load by, let's say, 5 pages and then sort by repins. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring up the pins on Pinterest that have been repinned over and over and over. And it'll tell you what's been pinned the most. on Pinterest so that you know what people are responding to the most. So then you know the types of things that people are probably going to be really interested in. So here you go. This is the most pinned one for gardening, and it's been pinned over 27,000 times. So if you open this, you can see there's a couple different things. Vegetables for a plat garden, that's a blog post idea. Vegetables for a patio garden, different planting, care, and harvesting things that you can talk about. You can also go through house plants that clean indoor air, plants that repel mosquitoes. So 20 insanely clever gardening tips and ideas. So you can click through to this, which has been pinned over 22,000 times, and potentially even make a blog post about every single one of those tips. So that's another way to get tons of content. Now, the last way is something that I saw from my friend Erin Pavlina. So she is an intuitive, and whether or not you're into the intuitive thing, what I think is brilliant is she actually had something where people could send her interview questions. So here is her page with the submission guidelines, but basically people will write in and they can ask a question. So they send their name. The payoff for them is they get to get all their questions answered. They can link to their site, so they get some free traffic, short bio, and then they send in 12 questions to Erin. And then Erin ends up picking 10 of those 12 questions and she puts them as a blog post. So now you're getting people to like straight give you like so many different ideas for things to write about. So, as she specifically says, for this feature, we're looking for questions whose answers will benefit the readership of Erin's blog. And then she gives examples of both good questions and bad questions. And then she just lets you know once it goes live. She doesn't pay for it, but she does let you have your bio on the page, so that can be some free publicity. So that's also a really interesting way. And with the interview questions, if there's anything that's really juicy, you could then take that and create it as a whole nother blog post. So hopefully this gives you just a couple ideas of different things you can do to create content really easily and quickly. I do have a webinar coming up if you'd like to learn more, and that webinar is going to teach you how you can take content ideas and actually just create endless amounts of traffic with them. So we're going to go over how you can come up with a year's worth of content in just a couple days, how you can go through and turn that into thousands of people seeing that content and then convert it into money as well. So if you want to sign up for that, just go to rachelroffe.com/webinar sign up. I have a ton of content for that and just so much to teach you on that, so I'm really pumped about it. All right, hope this helps. Have a spectacular day.